everyone, welcome to another Data Vault Q&A. My name is Julien Redmond. I'm joined again by Nols Ebersohn. G'day, Nols.
Hi, Julien.
And these Q&As are brought to you by Iris, which we think is the best choice for your automation for your lakehouse. And I have a very lakehousey kind of question for you today, Nols.
Sure.
So, what does a modern data platform look like when you have Data Vault at the core?
Let's define a modern data platform first up.
I'm thinking all of these new fancy, lakehousey kind of things, Databricks, Fabric. You agree?
So, absolutely. So the modern data platform is there's some really, really skilled marketers in the marketplace at the moment.
Yes, they've convinced.
Now that's a strange statement. That's a strange statement when you're talking about modern data platform, because if we look at what most of the modern data platforms are espousing from a design and architecture perspective, they would have basically something like a Medallion architecture, which we've mentioned before is not that dissimilar from what we saw in the early 90s with the three-tier data warehouse architectures and the like.
Everything new again.
Yeah, there's very few new things under the sun. And so let's take it for what its intent is. So the modern data platform does bring some really cool tools to the arena, absolutely no doubt. And so the ease at which development can happen and process control and release control and all those type of things are fantastic. No doubt about it, not disparaging any of those type of items. But when it comes to understanding where the challenges are within information, information does not change. The nature of information does not change if I introduce a new cool tool. The nature of information remains exactly consistent. It's its own thing. It's not matter. It's not energy. It's information. Yeah. And so at the core of all of that, you need to manage your information at its key component levels. And so those key components of information is what identifies something, business keys, how do they relate to each other, particularly how your business processes relate to each other. Those are, and then describe not only the key entity within your business, but the relationships and how they change over time. And so that particularly that last one, where the relationships need to be described over time, is a uniquely Data Vault capability that brings a lot of value to the modern data platform, because it's addressing the actual information, its information design, as opposed to the high-level architecture, which is what the modern data platform basically alludes to. It's more alluding to the technical and architectural patterns and frameworks than it is actually talking about how we organize and integrate our data.
Yeah.
So it allows these things, great, it's got the capacity to do so, but it doesn't bring the necessary thinking, design, methodology elements to it.
Yes.
Now, very importantly, our typical modern data platform is trying to take our gaps that exist within our data and tries to address it as close to the end user as possible in the information delivery side of the equation, which means that if we have something that is central to plenty of teams, how and where do we implement this? Because it's been taken so far to the edge that it's only useful to that edge user, or alternatively, you make this edge user now the custodian of that particular information, and you have this daisy chain of dependencies that build on top of that from other users. And so to address that problem, Data Vault is uniquely positioned where we actually have the derived data, the items that would otherwise be known as business rules, that resulting data, because data is just the evidence of your business rules executing.
Yeah.
And so that data being made available and integrated back into the Data Vault. Now you have Raw Vault and Business Vault. They are still under the same singular Data Vault. It's just two logical separations. One is reconcilable to source, the other one is not. Only difference. but they're still integrated to the hubs and links and to the business keys and relationships. And so having that centrally available, that there's no contest, there's no edge dependencies in my information delivery, everyone now can get the exact same answer without any other undue influence or use case limitations that's been put on it, which is the problem with edge on the edge of your delivery stream. So this is where Data Vault fundamentally differs to the modern data platform approach, in that in the typical bronze, your what you've received, your landing zone, those type of conversations. Then you have your integrated data set, which Data Vault does that really well. It integrates both the derived and the raw data in that layer. And that's the key differentiator. Because now that lifts all of that burden out of my information delivery, which means it changes quicker, it deploys quicker, it responds to specific use cases independent of any cascading change impacts that edge use case would impose on subsequent use cases. And so it removes a lot of the conditional architecture problems that we've seen in the past. And so, yes, our goal is still what we want to be out there, fully described, fully governed, nicely polished for the business, the end user requirements fully delivered on, functionally and non-functionally, but it's a particular use case.
So I saw a modern data platform presentation at a conference not that long ago, and it was, they described raw and, using pipelining tools to get data into raw, and they described gold and, it's the information mart layer, and if you're talking Data Vault world, and dimensional models and other things to service different use cases. And there was a lot of, and then in the silver layer, magic happens, basically. It's like, this is where integration and other things. And I think this is the real value of Vault, is that if your business if your executives have been convinced by a big vendor that you need a lakehouse and you need to use Medallion, what you're doing is basically saying yes, or because, gold is information mart layers and bronze is the persistent staging, and it's been recommended since day dot. And in silver, we are going to do standardization, we are going to conform data, we're going to integrate data, we're going to apply business rules, we're going to capture terms and definitions, we're going to build an ontology, we're going to do all of these things that aren't described in this branding of Medallion, but they're also not described. They're not, you're not allowed to do them. So you're bringing extra value by bringing all of these capabilities of design that are designed to work together, I think is like the real power. And so I kind of see this, as a yes and kind of scenario. Your exec says you're doing Medallion. Yes, we are. And we are going to solve Medallion by using Vault. I think it fits really well. And then you get that whole benefit of one of our previous Q&As around how do you service data with your semantic model to an AI platform and all of that sort of stuff. So I think it's almost to the point of saying, how would you possibly deliver a modern data platform without Data Vault?
Correct. Because you cannot embed or rely on the end user use cases to drive a semantic model for the enterprise. Because its very definition is it's a use case, and therefore it's very specific and constrained to that particular problem it's trying to report on. And so if you constrain your ontology, your semantic layer based on the edge use cases, then you're leaving the rest of the organization hogtied. You're trying to run a 100-meter race with your legs tied together. So everyone else is doing a fantastic sprint down and you're hopping along. Because you're tied down by the conditional architecture conditions.
And this is fundamental to what we're doing with Iris is it is a lakehouse automation tool. It is using Data Vault to solve these problems, and it is making Data Vault easy because we are, easier. Obviously, you still need very smart people to help you, and you still need to understand your enterprise and your data. But we're making the processes of using Vault in this layer easier, and we're making it easier every day. And then I think that's it's the how we're going to get you there. kind of scenario
Yes.
now. Yeah. Excellent. All right. I think there was a good chat. Do you have any more to add?
Well, there's a couple of personal rants which I will spare everyone, and so
Okay.
that's
All
enough.
right. We know this is a touchy subject for people about the way that different things are talked about, but I think most people kind of agree that everyone's heading towards these lake houses. They are going to be the foundation for AI enabled analytics and all of that sort of stuff, and so we've got to get on and work out how to do them really well.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks again for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you, Julien.
All right. See you next time.
See you next time.